Transition Together was originally conceived here in Totnes through the Transition Town Totnes initiative as a way of engaging people in a street-by-street kind of a way.
So a group usually starts by somebody coming into the office or ringing us up and saying they're interested in starting up a group in their neighbourhood. And they are the ones who then actually go and recruit all their neighbours. So that is something that's a bit different about our project. We don't go out and knock on people's doors. They're the one who does it. So they usually get together between about 6 and 10 of their neighbours, and they then go through 7 sessions. So they have 7 meetings together. The first one we facilitate. We send somebody along just to help them get off on the right track and to set a schedule of when they're going to be meeting again. And then the second session looks at energy use in the home. So there's about 10 to 12 practical actions that they can take, none of which cost much money at all. So we're really focusing on no cost or low cost actions for people. And then at the end of that first session, they write a little action plan, and each person usually takes on 2 or 3 actions that they say they're going to do or try and do before they meet again.
So can you tell when you put your washing machine on if you're producing enough electricity to sustain that washing machine?
Best time to have done any washing today would have been at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right, sure. Yes, because there was a bit of sunshine then.
So the workbook's organised into 7 sections, and each section includes a lot of practical actions, and we designed it from the very beginning that these actions are straightforward to do, they have a definite impact, so they reduce carbon and they save money.
The Transition Together workbook was designed really to be very, very accessible, colourful, bold, inviting, chatty, conversational, something that a group can sit down without needing someone to go through it with them every single session. It was very much designed so that each step felt achievable, but then when all added up together, it really made quite a meaningful impact on people's consumption.
There was an awful lot of learning that took place, and lots of things we were able to put into practice about how to save energy and how to be better users of the resources that are on this planet, really. Without suffering, actually without suffering, and that's the key. It was actually a fun thing to do.
Because it looks at it on a street-by-street level, it means people can start to imagine the implications of that and start to think about what a post-oil, low-carbon world's going to look like on a small scale. It's not about how are we going to imagine the world totally changed, it's how can we imagine this bit of the world, how can we imagine that transformed and made over? And that feels much more digestible.
They're supported by grants in some cases. So for example, cavity wall insulation or loft insulation for some people, you can get grants through a local scheme. It's really aimed at people who haven't done an awful lot yet. If people were real experts and they'd totally done over their house and made it totally, carbon efficient, they probably wouldn't find many new things here. But the reality is that most people haven't done an awful lot of this stuff. So it gives a lot of people a lot of potential actions to do. It's important to say that we wouldn't give a grant for somebody to put solar panels on their roof unless they've done the basic energy efficiency stuff first.
By applying the things that we read about in the units, talked about, made a big difference. It's been more a sense of how we are in our lives rather than what we're doing, being more aware, being more conscious of what we're doing with our lives in regard to energy and wasting it or not wasting it and doing our best.
I think the long-term benefits of the group aspect in particular is really around the social cohesion. I've had people say to me that just after the first meeting they got their bike out the garage and started cycling into town because in their car they had to drive past all their neighbours and already they were starting to feel, people are keeping an eye on what I'm doing here. So that was quite interesting as well, that kind of peer pressure that comes out.
You see that creativity spark and people start looking at each other's gardens in different ways and looking at each other's rooftops as having great potential. And I think probably in the long run, that's the change that will stick.
It's what society needs, what we all need, is to live in a safe world. And I think this is a start for it.